You take a bite of food. You chew it maybe 15 times. You swallow. You think nothing of it. And the whole meal is finished in 20 minutes. A chimpanzee your size would still be chewing 6 hours from now. That gap is not a difference in table manners. It is the reason you have the brain you are using right now. And it exists because somewhere deep in your past, an ancestor of yours did something no animal on this planet had ever done. They took food and they held it over fire. So, what would you be if they never had? Start with your mouth, because your mouth is the evidence. Your teeth are small, absurdly small for a primate your size. Your jaw muscles are thin. Your gut is short, roughly 60% the length you would expect in an ape of your body mass. Every one of those traits is a downgrade. In the wild, small teeth and a short gut are how an animal starves, unless something else is doing the digesting for it. That was the argument Richard Wrangham, a primatologist at Harvard, laid out in 2009 in a book called Catching Fire. His claim was simple and unsettling. Cooking is not a cultural luxury humans invented after becoming clever. Cooking is what made them clever. Heat tears apart the tough structures in meat and starch before the food ever reaches a mouth. It unwinds protein, it swells and softens starch, it kills parasites and breaks down fiber. It does outside your body the work your teeth and stomach would otherwise have to do inside it. Fire, in other words, is an external stomach, and once your ancestors had one, they could stop paying for the internal one. That trade has a name. In 1995, Leslie Ello and Peter Wheeler published what they called the expensive tissue hypothesis. Brains are metabolically ruinous. Yours is about 2% of your body weight and burns close to 20% of your energy while you sit still. Guts are expensive too. Aiello and Wheeler noticed that across evolutionary time, as the human gut shrank, the human brain grew, almost as though the body were quietly moving money from one account into another. You did not get this brain for free. You paid for it by giving up your digestive tract. Cooked food is what made that affordable. Do you see what that means for the question? If your ancestors had never cooked, there is no budget for the brain. That is not a metaphor. In 2012, Karina Fonseca Azevedo and Susana Herculano Hausel ran the arithmetic directly. They counted neurons across primate species and set that against the hours each species has to spend feeding on raw food. Then they asked a blunt question. How long would a raw-eating primate need to chew and forage to fund a brain of 86 billion neurons, which is the number sitting inside your skull right now? More than 9 hours a day, every day, with nothing left over. 9 hours of chewing is not a diet. It is a full-time job with no evenings and no days off. Gorillas do it. Chimpanzees spend 4 to 7 hours a day with food in their mouths. That is what the schedule of a raw-fed great ape actually looks like. And it is a large part of why no raw-fed great ape has ever built anything. The effect shows up even in small amounts of processing. In 2016, Catherine Zink and Daniel Lieberman measured how much work human chewing actually costs, and found that simply slicing meat and pounding plants before eating cut the number of chews needed by around 17% and the force behind each one by about a quarter. No fire at all in that experiment, just a stone edge and a hammer. Even that much preparation loosens the grip food has on your day. So, when did the fire start? In the northern Cape of South Africa, there is a cave called Wonderwerk. In 2012, a team led by Francesco Berna analyzed sediment from a layer deep inside it and found ash from burned plant material and fragments of burned bone, heated at temperatures consistent with a controlled fire, 30 meters back from the entrance where no lightning strike could reach. That layer is around 1 million years old. In Israel, at a waterlogged site called Gesher Benot Ya'aqov, Nama Gorn-Inbar and her colleagues mapped burned flint fragments and found they were not scattered randomly across the ground. They clustered, pooling in specific spots. the way debris pools around a hearth that someone tends and returns to. That site is roughly 780,000 years old. And at Qesem Cave, also in Israel, Ruth Shahak Gross and her team identified a single hearth used over and over across generations, roughly 300,000 years ago, ringed with the burned bone of butchered animals. 3 sites, 3 different kinds of evidence, all pointing the same way. The fire is old, older than your species. Homo sapiens did not invent cooking. Homo sapiens inherited it. So let us reconstruct an evening. You are sitting on packed dirt somewhere in East Africa, and the sky is going orange. You are not Homo sapiens. Your species will not exist for hundreds of thousands of years yet. You have a heavy brow, a low forehead, and a brain roughly 2/3 the size of the one you carry today. Around you are perhaps 15 others. In the middle is the fire. Someone has pushed tubers into the embers. Someone else is turning a strip of meat on a stick. The smell arrives long before the food does, and nobody minds the wait, because the wait is short. That same tuber eaten raw would be an hour of grinding labor in your jaw. Out of the embers, it will be soft in 20 minutes. Then you eat. And here's the part that actually matters about that meal. You finish it. You finish it, and the light has not gone yet, and there is time. Time to sit, time to look at one another, time to make sounds at one another, and over spans of generations too long to picture, turn those sounds into language. The fire did more than that. It sat between your ancestors and the dark, and the animals that hunted at night learned to keep their distance from it. So the night stopped being purely something to survive. It became somewhere to be. Cooking did not only feed your ancestors, it handed them the evening. Now take it away. In the world where nobody ever learned to cook, that fire is not there. The tubers stay fibrous, the meat stays tough. The meal that took 20 minutes takes 5 hours, and it takes 5 hours tomorrow. And the day after, and every day until the species ends. Your jaw stays enormous because you need it. Your gut stays long because you need it. Your brain never grows because there is nothing left over to grow it with. There is no evening. There is no fire to gather around. There is no reason to gather around anything at all because everyone is busy chewing. And this is not pure speculation. There is a narrow window into it. In the late 1990s, a nutrition researcher named Corinna Kubnik studied several hundred people in Germany living on strictly raw diets. These were modern people with modern food. Cultivated fruit bred for sweetness, pressed oils, nuts shipped in from other continents. Food no forager on Earth has ever had access to. Even with every one of those advantages, the group lost substantial body weight, and around half of the women in the study stopped menstruating. Their bodies were reading the situation as scarcity and shutting down the most energetically expensive process available to shut down. Those people had blenders. Your ancestors would have had a rock. Here is the twist, though, and it is a strange one. Your ancestors did not just gain something from cooking, they lost the ability to go back. Rachel Carmody, working alongside Wrangham, ran controlled feeding experiments comparing identical food served raw and cooked, and found that the cooked version consistently delivered more usable energy, the same meal, more calories, purely because of heat, which means cooked food is not an upgrade on your natural diet. Cooked food is your natural diet now. Your entire digestive system is built around the assumption that something has already begun the work for you. You are the only animal on this planet that struggles to live on the food it evolved from. Take fire away from a chimpanzee, and it carries on exactly as before. Take fire away from you, and what remains is a large, slow, small-toothed primate with an enormous fuel bill and no way on earth to pay it. So the honest answer to what humans would be if they had never started cooking is not that you would be a simpler kind of human. It is that there would be no you here to ask. Now, look at where you are sitting. You almost certainly ate something today that was heated by a machine you did not build, using fuel you did not gather, through a process you never watched. You may have eaten it standing up. You may have eaten it in the 11 minutes between two other things, which is roughly what a meal is worth to most people now. Every one of those 11 minutes is a gift from a fire 1,000,000 years old. The only reason eating can be an interruption in your day is that eating stopped being your day. Someone in your line worked out how to make food surrender before it ever reached their teeth, and in doing so, they bought you your afternoon. They bought you your evening. They bought you the spare metabolic change that slowly became the organ you are using right now. To be quietly astonished by all of this. And they bought one more thing, which you will recognize instantly if you have ever stood waiting for something in an oven while other people talked behind you. Fire made food faster. Faster food made time. And time spent around a fire with other people night after night for 1,000,000 years is where every story you have ever been told began. So, you take a bite of food, you chew it maybe 15 times, you swallow, and you think nothing of it, and the whole meal is over in 20 minutes. And those 20 minutes are the largest inheritance any animal has ever been handed.